Okay, let's talk about this thing called race, which is often referred to as the child of racism. For centuries, people have been divided into groups based on physical characteristics, such as skin color, hair type, and facial features. This division is called race. But what if we told you that race has no genetic basis? The truth is, not one characteristic trait or even gene distinguishes all the members of one so-called race from all the members of another so-called race. In fact, human subspecies don't even exist. Unlike many animals, modern humans haven't been around long enough, nor have populations been isolated enough to evolve into separate subspecies or races. On average, only one of every 1,000 of the nucleotides that make up our DNA differs from one human to another. We are one of the most genetically similar of all species. So where did the idea of race come from, and why has it persisted for so long? In 1850, English anatomist Robert Knox published a book entitled The Races of Man, a fragment which claimed to provide a scientific basis for the popular belief that intelligence is linked to race and heredity. According to Knox, people of color were intellectually inferior not due to differences in brain size, but rather to differences in brain texture and nerve endings. Despite being based on the autopsy of only one man of color, Knox's studies and similar research were taken very seriously, and this laid the groundwork for the 20th century eugenics movement. The idea that certain races were inherently superior or inferior gained widespread acceptance and became an excuse for the marginalization and oppression of minority groups. However, modern science has proven that race has no genetic basis. Not a single characteristic, trait, or gene distinguishes all members of one race from all members of another. In fact, human subspecies do not exist, and unlike many animals, modern humans have not been around long enough or isolated enough to evolve into separate subspecies or races. We are one of the most genetically similar of all species, with an average of only one nucleotide difference in our DNA for every 1,000 humans. Despite this, the legacy of racist ideologies and their impact on marginalized communities still continues today. In North America, and the creation of a black identity and the legal and social codification of white supremacy grew out of this shared history of slavery. The concept of race was then used to justify the enslavement of Africans and their descendants, as well as the systemic oppression of non-white groups in America. Race has been used to create a false sense of superiority among majority groups, perpetuating the belief that they were naturally superior and entitled to more rights and privileges than people of color. But the truth is that race is a social and political construct, a product of history, culture, and political systems, and has no basis in biology. It was created and used as a tool to maintain power and control over certain groups of people. And its effects can still be seen in the systemic inequalities that exist in our society today. It's important to understand the history of race and its creation so that we can work to dismantle the systems of oppression that have been built upon it. We must work towards a future where all people are truly equal, regardless of their skin color or ancestry. It's essential to recognize and acknowledge the harm that racist beliefs and actions have caused, and to work towards building a more just and equitable society for all.